welcome back. And first off, this is the Replacements podcast. I'm Elliott. Joining me is Tanner. We are the Replacements podcast. A couple buddies got together. We've been throwing this around. If you watched our last video, which if you haven't, you have to. It's gold. It's golden. It's content. It's brilliant. It's amazing. But if you haven't watched it, you need to, because it was a very fun time. Talked about Zeke. Talked about a little bit Big 12. This week's a little different. Well, not so much. We're talking NFL, but we're also going to talk a little bit of SEC this time. But, I'm an SEC fan. Tanner's a Big 12 fan. I'm an A&M fan. He's a Tech fan.
I love to push his buttons. It's what I'm good at, and before the end of the night, he will be wearing the helmet because he will either lose his cool or say something completely idiotic.
No, I'm not going to lose my cool. By the way, the helmet sucks. The helmet is it's a tiny blue helmet. If you follow one of us on Snapchat, or, if you follow us on Facebook, you'll see it. I put on the helmet. It's not fun. It's tight. It restricts my knowledge flow. Definitely a loss for me when I'm trying to tell you how I feel about sports.
Unfortunately, we have not been able to video our podcast yet. We tried last week. If you notice, during our podcast, we kind of said, oh, well, look at this or look at that. But we were recording video, but unfortunately it did not work out. We have not yet got the equipment we need for actual video. But that's coming, hopefully, before football season. Maybe, maybe not. But today we're going to talk SEC. Start off with SEC.
Oh, it's going to be a wild. It's going to be a really crazy year. I feel that there is a lot that could happen this go around. I feel like that there's going to be some surprises. I think there's going to be a little bit underwhelming teams. I mean, anything can happen this year.
Since we're going with that, I guess we'll start with the over-under, the official over-under for the SEC's football season. See what you agree with, and then we'll go through and kind of say what we think is going to happen. Alabama, 11. Georgia, 11. Florida, 9. LSU, 9. Mississippi State, 8.5. Auburn, 7.5. Texas A&M, 7.5. Missouri, 6.5. Tennessee, 6.5. No, you could win half a game. Arkansas 6, Kentucky 6, South Carolina 6, Ole Miss 5, and Vanderbilt 5.
I don't believe that. I believe that every SEC team this year, maybe not Arkansas, will make a bowl game. 6 wins for all of them. Now that's my take, but that's what I'm saying. The SEC is so. I'm not saying that it's crazy stacked. I'm saying that there isn't really a bad team. Except for Arkansas, Vanderbilt kind of falls in that list. But those two teams are really the only two bad teams. But even then, they could have a really good season. Their schedule sets up for it. I feel like that they could have 6 wins. I feel like everybody's going to at least make a bowl game. Now, here's the other thing. I feel like Missouri's too low. I could see them, contending in the East. I could see them coming in second place or even winning the East. I mean, Georgia is good and all. They're losing recruits that they've had a couple years ago due to suspension, due to idiotic movements. I feel that Georgia is not as powerful as what they were, and that's just because I feel like that there's a tension on the team that's going on. But that's why I was saying the SEC is, Alabama. That's it, and then LSU, A&M could be up there too. It's going to be a really funky year.
Since you're talking about, you say everyone's schedule lines up for 6-6. Let's start with that. I feel the SEC has very weak non-conference football games. And it's something the coaches control. It's not like the SEC conference games where that's who the SEC gives them. This is the teams you're playing. This is when you're playing them. You have 4 open spots. Fill these games. And here's my biggest thing. Here's why I don't watch a lot of football outside of my own conference. Because it's boring if you're not watching during the first few weeks. It's boring. Who wants to see, I have it somewhere in front of me, Alabama play New Mexico State?
Who wants to see Tech play, who do they have week 1?
They play Montana State.
Montana State.
But even at that, Alabama, who's supposed to be the number 1 team every year, they're just good at football. Why do they need to play New Mexico State? Why don't we have a do like how they do in the pros. They don't play around. Week 1, good football.
Who has good football week 1 in the NCAA? Name a team.
But that's the whole. It's not just the SEC. It's all of college.
Oh, it's all of
Why
college.
don't they do go ahead week 1. Still have the one game for you to get your feeling because there's not a lot of practice time in college. So you still need to have a kind of a little bit of feel.
Well,
Do you need 4 of them? Do you need 4 of them?
We only scheduled 3.
4. The SEC has 4 non-conference games because of the way the conference is lined up.
Yeah. Well,
Big 12 has 3.
Big 12 has 3. Well, I mean, here's the thing. So you get the smaller schools who are on very, very low budgets, who don't get money. For them to get this money, they got to play these bigger teams. These bigger teams pay money for these little schools, which I think is beneficial. If you get somebody from high school who can't make a D1 school but could make a D2 school or FCS team, then great. And guess what? They could transfer. The amount of kids that go into these schools and transfer into these bigger Division I colleges.
It's essentially a farm system, just like they would be in baseball. But my thing is, here's Alabama's schedule. Duke, first game. New Mexico State, South Carolina, Southern Mississippi, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, Western Carolina, and then Auburn to finish off the season.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to change?
Why don't they do like they do in basketball? Why not have a interconference challenge game? Do the Big 12 versus the SEC. Let's see Alabama play Oklahoma within the first 3 weeks. Let's make it interesting. All these coaches don't want to have a loss the first of the year because they're trying to make the big game.
Well, yeah, that's what matters. Is the money flow.
But if you turn around and say Oklahoma beats Alabama week 2 of the season,
it's still going to be looked differently because even down the road, let's say Oklahoma goes undefeated. That's technically a loss, but not a bad loss to the committee.
I give it to Georgia. Guess who they play week 4?
I can't remember.
Notre Dame,
yeah.
That's going to be a good game. I will watch that game.
That's a home and home, right? That should be a home and home.
Yeah,
it's a home and home.
I don't have that.
Yeah, I think it's a home. It's a home and home. I think so. Yeah, so we get that next year too. So is it this year? It's at Georgia, right?
Yes, it is at Georgia.
So that's going to be.
That's a good game.
That's a good game.
I mean, Notre Dame is a non-conference school, but even at that, they're a good football program.
Yeah, well, it all depends on. I mean, it comes down to scheduling. Here's the thing. I like it when these teams play these smaller schools because in the background, there's a lot of money that's getting transferred around. It's benefiting these small schools to really keep the football program alive. It's giving a chance for athletes that aren't, maybe they're underdeveloped. Maybe they didn't make it to, these bigger Power 5 programs or Division I schools, It gives them a chance to really, get up there. I mean, this is totally way off because Last Chance U is a JUCO college, doesn't really fall into the spectrum, but it's a second chance for players. These smaller schools are a second chance for these guys to go in and play sports again. Wouldn't you want a chance to go in if you didn't get offered to a Power 5 or a D1 school? Wouldn't you want to go to a D2 school football program thinking, hey, here I am, I can prove myself, put my name in the transfer portal, go into a graduate stance and go play 2 years at, TCU or Tech or Oklahoma or, Vanderbilt or at a Power 5 school where you are more looked at in an NFL prospect than what you are in an FCS standpoint.
That's my biggest thing on the schedule, though. I have 6 of the more top-end SEC schools: Auburn, LSU, Florida, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia. We've already gone over Alabama's schedule. Georgia, who plays Notre Dame week 4, okay? So they're playing a big-name school that is not... that they lose that game, they could very well not make the playoff picture, and they are a playoff picture.
Yeah.
Florida, first game of the year, plays Miami. LSU plays Texas week 2.
A&M plays Clemson week 2.
A&M plays Clemson week 2. And Auburn plays Oregon week 1.
Week 1, yeah.
So everyone in the SEC has a big game that could cost them a chance at making the playoffs if they make it past Alabama.
Yeah.
My point in that is Alabama doesn't have that game.
Oh,
They're not playing.
They know how to work the system.
They're working the system, but it doesn't make good football. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The powerhouse of college football for the last 10 years, and they're playing New Mexico State. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but what team's going to want to play Bama?
What team wants to play Clemson week 2? But Texas A&M's sure stupid enough to do it.
We didn't decide that. These schedules are made 4 to 5 years in advance. The non-conference schedules, at least, in a sense.
Maybe I don't know if that's how it works in the SEC, but I wouldn't say that's how it works in the Big 12.
Every school
It's
in the
a year
NCAA,
advanced.
you can go
Unless it is
in
a
and
major
look.
game.
You could go look ahead and see who they've scheduled.
For all I'm saying is that it needs to be. They can do at least one challenge game. SEC has, everyone else in there is doing it just about, but why not? And I understand you're like, oh, they don't want to lose, but I'm just saying, they can make college football.
Here's my thing. It benefits a small school. It helps out these kids. It trickles down all the way. In my opinion, it trickles down all the way to these high school kids getting a chance.
All I'm saying is how does it benefit a kid to fly or drive? Like, we'll just use Tech. Montana State, for example, they're a D2 school. They're going to fly. It's a 20-hour drive. It's about a 4-hour flight to Bozeman, Montana. Come down here, and hopefully, which should happen,
They should be, or Tech
Tech
should
should
win that
stomp
game.
the ever-living crap out of
You
them.
hope. Well, that's the thing. It's a risk. It's a risk game. Look at A&M last year. Look at A&M.
UTEP,
Hold on.
No.
Hey. Look at A&M last year. They played, or LSU lost to Troy last year. It's a risky game. You don't know what could happen. You could catch a football team on their off game.
Tech playing Arizona week 3, that's a risky game.
That's a risky game.
UTEP, depending on the year, UTEP is a good school. There's a reason Texas Tech doesn't play SMU in the preseason or in the non-conference part of the season anymore. It's because SMU beat them a couple years ago. But
Yeah, well, Tech had some injuries a couple years ago, real early on, that hurt them.
the other point of that is, back before the college playoffs were around, if you lost a game week 1 or week 2, as long as you won the rest and you won your conference, there was a very good chance
To make the
of
BCS,
Still making the BCS. But that's the other reason the college playoffs needs to go to 8 teams.
It'll
You
go
get
to 8 teams.
And we
or-
talked about this slightly last week.
Yeah, last week.
But
Which, if you go last week, we talked about it.
we're going to retouch base. You
Yeah.
gave your opinion. I gave a lot of opinion. I've put some thought into it. It needs to be 8 teams. It needs to be each conference winner of the Power 5 conferences, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, Pac-12, and ACC.
Yeah.
With the other 2, have a wild card. With the third rank, say you have a school that is big enough, or did well enough in their season for a non-conference school, Notre Dame, they did it last year. I don't remember, you can correct me, is UCF in a conference?
UCF.
Houston's, they're not a horrible team. Their quarterback, if they win 11, 12 games this year, their quarterback could very well be a Heisman
Yeah, but
candidate.
the other thing is that the committee goes in and they compare schedules. Alabama, it's like Texas plays LSU. Let's say that Texas plays the same team LSU did. They're going to compare that in the schedule, and they're going, this is just for example. It's not like, but if they compare, they do all this stuff to make sure that you're getting the best teams in the top 8, which the past couple of years has been kind of, Notre Dame should definitely have not been in there the past couple of years, but since they want to stay in their own little world of their own island over there, then they get granted that because of the supposedly good season that they have. And in my opinion, I don't think they've really had a good season, especially getting clobbered, only scoring 3 points last year in the game versus Clemson in the playoffs.
Okay, well, let's talk about this. You say they take in strength of schedule. So in the CBS 130 rankings for the preseason, Alabama's number 2, A&M's 14, LSU is 6, Auburn is 15, which I don't see where they're getting that from, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Georgia is 4, Florida is 8. Okay, so how does the number 2 power rankings team that they couldn't decide between that and Clemson get away with such a weak schedule?
I don't know.
So that's my whole take on that.
I mean, I don't go sit in the office. I don't talk to any of these teams. I mean, you got me there. You got me there.
That's all I'm saying. For someone that is so based off of your record and strength of schedule, Alabama has a very weak non-conference schedule.
Well, you also got to remember, when you're better than 99% of the schools in college football, it's hard to make a hard schedule.
I mean, they could make it better. That's all I'm saying. But let's look at this. Since we kind of got way down the rabbit hole on that, we were gonna do our over under. Go ahead and I'll name off some SEC teams. You tell me what you think they're gonna do, win and loss this year.
All right, hit me.
All right, so we're gonna start with the SEC West because we just love beating Alabama down people's throat. Apparently,
Yeah.
we should really go to that game. By the way,
Yeah, I want to.
I'd love to watch Alabama beat the snot out of Texas A&M.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
It's gonna.
Okay, let's
All right, so Alabama, what do you think they're going to do this year?
So here's my take. Here's my think. They could go 12-0. They could easily go 10-2. Now here's my take. They go 11-1.
That's what I think too. I think they could very easily drop the game to LSU.
That's what I'm thinking. Or they go 10-2, and I'll explain that later.
Okay, Arkansas.
6-6. 5-7 worst case scenario. I mean, the thing is that their schedule isn't. It's not a difficult schedule. It sets up for them to win some of these games, and they could potentially go 6-6, but 5-7.
I agree with that. I've had them at 5-7 as well. Auburn, who is ranked in the Power 130 at number 15, which confuses me because who's going to be their starting quarterback?
Oh, that's going to be a hard. That's going to be hard. I mean, so here's the thing. Gus Malzahn is not going to be the coach there anymore. I'm sorry to say it. I think Auburn drops the ball this year, and
He's gone.
And he's going to be gone. I mean, he almost lost his job last year. On the sideline, you could see him say, he's like, they're going to fire me. You know, I think that...
And they can start off very rough because they play Oregon first.
Yeah, I mean, here's
and
the thing.
Alabama last.
It's going to be a rough. I mean, it's going to be a rough year for Auburn. Auburn has just so many question marks across a lot of the board, and I feel like that it's not going to get answered this year. It's not going to look good for Gus, and I don't see Gus coaching there. I think he gets fired. He's definitely on the hot seat.
Okay, LSU.
I think they go 10-2, and I'll explain that later also.
That's what I have them picked at is 10-2 as well. I felt fairly confident in their schedule. But they also don't have a running back.
But, I mean, their offense... Okay, so here it is. Their offense is questionable. They got some decent wide receivers.
They have four good wide receivers.
Yeah, but it's the defense. They're getting almost everyone back on that defense. And that defense... I mean, defense last year was a powerhouse. That A&M game was a fluke. That game went on for 5 hours.
That was the 11 overtime game,
yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
Which
that
apparently is not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, that's the last one that you'll ever get.
Which makes me sad because everyone loves an overtime game.
Yeah. Well, you'll get a couple
Unless
overtimes. Yeah, unless it's baseball. We just want to go home. Please, for the love of God.
I can't say anything. I saw an overtime game between Texas and Detroit Saturday night. And I called the walk-off home run by Rugnet Odor before he even came up to bat. Mississippi State.
I think they go...
I'm saying 7-5.
8-4. 8-4 is kind of high. Their schedule, 7-5 is probably could happen, but 8-4.
The over/under is 8.5.
Yeah, I see them going 8.
I don't see them winning 9 games.
They're not going to win.
Which is what I take the
They're not
half
going to win
by.
9 games. Yeah, that's what the half is. They're not going to win 9 games this year.
Ole Miss or the slap bag of the SEC?
Oh, 6-6. Straightforward 6-6. They're not a bad team. They're really not. They could show up and play at any moment. It's just that it's a mixture of young, it's a mixture of experience, and then it's just all jumbled up and it's not well put together. It's like taking puzzle pieces and leaving them outside in the rain and then trying to put it back together. It's
I put them at 4-8.
Yeah. 4-8.
I could go with 5-7. I was with 4-8 between them and Vanderbilt, but their over under is 5, so I was taking the under on both of them.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like I said earlier, I think most of these SEC teams can make a bowl game, even the ones that aren't good. So 6-6, Ole Miss. Elliott says 6-6.
Okay, how you feeling? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. I'm tired.
Let me ask you this.
A little bit.
Do you want to do the last team in the West, or do you want me to go to the East and then come back to the last team in the West?
No, let's do it. 10-2.
You saying Texas A&M is going 10-2.
10-2 on the high note. I feel good. I feel good. And I know exactly what you're going to do. I know exactly what you're fixing to do. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I say
Hold
7-5.
I need to drink my water.
7-5. 7-5. They have the hardest road schedule in the SEC.
But it is the hardest road schedule. But here's the thing: it's
at Clemson, at Ole Miss, at Georgia, at LSU. Play Auburn at home and Alabama at home.
I think they take Clemson and Georgia.
You're out of your mind.
I think they take Clemson.
They
and
take
Georgia.
Clemson at Clemson.
They take Clemson at Clemson.
I
think Clemson.
I can halfway see you saying like, "Hey, they sneak Alabama at home, like they snuck LSU at home in overtime." I can see that happening.
I mean, it's
you
a
get into
possibility.
overtime, anything happens.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. So let me get back to Alabama real quick. Alabama. This is the revenge tour. This is the revenge tour for Alabama. Period.
They got
this
destroyed.
year. They are pissed. And if you know Nick Saban, when he loses a game like that, what was it? 24 points. National championship game, 24 almost.
It was like 44-16, I think, is what the score was.
I don't think it was that much.
You got the computer, do the research.
Yeah. Well, then we'll worry
while
about
I get ready to just
push
every button.
Push my buttons. Go ahead. Intrigue me. Come on. Might as well get the helmet out already.
Jay Sternberger, the tight end from Texas. Sternberger, sorry. Led y'all in reception yards last year.
Uh-huh.
He was drafted by Green Bay. He's gone.
Replaced with a 5-star.
Okay, but how often do recruits play the first year?
He's going to play the first year. And we also got a transfer in.
All right, so y'all are 13th. Or, sorry. Y'all are 14th in the power rankings this year?
11th.
11th. All right, so last year y'all were 13th in total yards, 38th in receiving, 21st in rushing, and 8th in first downs.
Okay.
I just don't think y'all are going to do it again this year. I don't think y'all's offense is going to be near what it was.
I think you're wrong. We get our wide receivers back. We have Kellen Mond at quarterback, who's going to be a powerhouse this year. He can beat you in the air, on your legs. My only question mark is the defense.
Okay, what about your running back? He was also drafted. Who's going to be running back?
We got 3 really good running backs in the background. I'm not worried about offense. Offense will be fine. Offense is going to take care of itself. It's the defense that I'm worried about.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with A&M. I mean, with A&M, there's so much. There's such a high ceiling, and with the hardest schedule it's honestly the hardest schedule that anybody could ever have. It's stupid. Besides South Carolina, they're just as stupid as we are, I guess. So I mean, we didn't make this schedule. This schedule was made a couple years ago, 3 years ago, or whatever. You know, who knew that Clemson was going to be this good? Who knew, Georgia was going to be this good? 3 years ago still. But, I mean, here we are.
All right, here's my thing, though. This is why I think Texas A&M blows it.
Here we go.
Are you sitting down? You comfortable?
No, I'm not.
anyone wondering, this is my favorite part. This is why we started this podcast, because I love to get him going on sports.
He pushes my buttons, and at this point, I don't care. It happens anyways.
So Texas A&M is the school, right? They got the stadium.
Just recently.
But they have the stadium. They have the department. They have the recruiting.
Recently.
They have really good recruiting.
Recently.
They just went up in recruiting.
Okay.
A couple spots today that I saw.
Yeah.
But they have a good year, and then they are very underwhelming for the next 3 to 4 years.
We just got here, baby. That's all I gotta
say. I'm just saying. 2012, the first year in the SEC, coming out of the Big 12. Y'all had an 11-2 total record. Y'all were 6-2. Behind Alabama, that was a good season. 2013 in SEC Conference, 4-4. 14, 3-5. 15, 4-4. 16, 4-4. 17, 4-4. Last year, y'all went 5-3 for a 9-4 total. Yes, y'all did get a new coach, and y'all dropped some weight from the last one. But my point is, even when y'all were in the Big 12, it was the same thing. Really good season, 3 to 4 really bad seasons. Last year was a decent season.
Are
y'all going to break the cycle and prove me wrong?
Hey, we're going to break the cycle. You got to remember, Kevin Sumlin was a good recruiter, not a good coach. We didn't really have a really good coaching staff. We also went through 5 quarterbacks in that span of time between the start of the Sumlin era in the SEC and the end of the Sumlin era. May I remind you who Oklahoma got? I mean,
I'm just saying.
Who's starting for the Cardinals?
I'm just saying.
I think it's different. I think it really is different. I have a really good feeling this year. I feel like Jimbo is pouring into these people. They're buying into the program. It's going to work out. Now, here's the thing. I mean, it's the SEC. Anything can happen. But it's recruiting. I mean, we're having a solid top 10 recruiting year. We had it last year in the top. We were a top 5 recruiting program, or we were number 3 last year. 247 Sports said we were number 3. And then this year, I think we're 7 or 8 right now. We're top 10.
Okay, so I think my 5 losses, it's Clemson, Auburn. I think I drop it to Auburn.
At home?
At home. That could be the swing game. Lose it to Georgia at Georgia, and you'll lose to LSU there. And I think y'all don't pass Alabama at home. But I tell you what, y'all win more than 7 games, I'll make a bet with you.
All right, fine. What do we got?
They win more than 7 games, I will do a podcast in Texas A&M gear. For those who missed it last week, if Green Bay, I don't remember the bet exactly, Green Bay does well.
If Green Bay does well and they make the play, I can't remember. We know it in the last podcast. If Tanner loses,
check it out.
Go check it out. If Tanner and Andy are really best friends, but when it comes to the NFL, Andy's a diehard Green Bay Packers fan, which, I mean, I don't mind Green Bay. I hate the Eagles. I really hate the Eagles. I don't hate Green Bay as much, so I like seeing Andy and Tanner go and get into it because it's my entertainment. Same as everyone watching me and Tanner get into it when it comes to Tech and A&M. But, hey, I mean, what are friends for? So
right. But either way, well, if I lose the bet, I have to refresh on what the bet is. The bet is with Elliott, funny enough. But I think we were arguing over underscore. But with that being the case, I have to wear a cheesehead for a podcast.
Yeah.
So with that
it was
being said,
cheesehead, and it was
for Texas A&M, they do better than 7 games wins. Bowl game doesn't count for the go ahead regular season.
Damn.
They go 75 in the regular season.
How dare you?
But I'd make it one better. You have to wear all Tech gear.
A podcast? Right, I'm fine with that.
Full out Tech gear.
I'm fine with that then.
And the helmet for the full podcast.
The helmet's questionable. The helmet restricts my knowledge flow.
Deal.
All right, fine. Deal. Whatever. We shook on it. You are witnesses, the ones listening to this podcast right now. So, but we're hitting the 30-minute mark right now.
We're only halfway through the SEC.
We're only halfway through the SEC. This is going to be a little bit of a quick podcast. if you're kind of familiar with our podcast, we don't get along too much. We kind of get along on some things, but it works out just a little bit, But I mean, the cool part is that we have fun with it. We're hoping that y'all have fun. And just a reminder, make sure that you like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you enjoy the podcast, I mean, tell us below. Tell us in the comments. Tell us what we could do better. Tell us what you want to hear. If you want to hear something on here, let us know.
If you think our opinion is absolute crap, let us know that too.
And we'll tell you that yours is crap.
We'll have at it. Let's have fun with this. So we're gonna go
East.
The SEC East.
East, or as Tanner calls it.
Florida.
8 wins.
8 wins for Florida.
Maybe 7. And Florida, Dan Mullen's out there now, and I think Florida does pretty good. I think they could go 8 wins. Yeah, 8 wins. They go 8 wins.
I'm gonna go with 9.
I gotta remember. I have this written down somewhere. So 8 wins.
They have most of their offensive coming back. They've got quarterback. They've got 2 running backs. They've got 4 good
and they've
receivers.
had a decent recruiting class, and that's just the thing, That's why I'm saying that SEC is going to be so crazy. Well, here we go. Let's finish the East, and I'll talk about what I think is going to happen. So keep them coming.
Georgia.
10.
I have them at 11, but I'm second guessing myself now.
Yeah, now looking at everything, kind of.
They have Jake Fromm, another Heisman caliber quarterback.
Okay, so I mean, Jake Fromm's going to be brilliant. I think that him and Tua Tagovailoa is going to, one of them two is going to win it, honestly, and that's just because they're both great quarterbacks. Or Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts. Those are my 3 picks. So
Oklahoma is not three-peating in Heisman's.
I mean, if Jalen Hurts performs, then I mean, it's the people's vote, man. You don't know what's going to happen, so.
All right, so Georgia has Jake Fromm. They have DeAndre Swift running. He's a good runner. Who's their wide receivers?
Yeah, that's the question mark. Well, the other question mark is
literally, I just have question marks.
Well, here's the other thing. They have players, stupid players, idiotic moves, and this really pisses me off. How do you go in a 5-star or a 4-star caliber player and you pull a stupid move with drug possession, or you go in and you just ruin your career, domestic violence, stuff like that. That's the stuff that Georgia's dealing with, and that's what I'm saying. Georgia's not going to be that good of a team. I think there's a lot going on. I think more players might get suspended throughout the year. I mean, Georgia's released players. I mean, they're in the transfer portal right now. Who knows where they're going to go? They're very good players, but the other thing is that does your team want to pick up somebody who's going to be in a domestic violence dispute or have, assault or anything like that,
But that's a problem faced over most of college football. These kids they get in trouble constantly.
But it's not as consistent as what Georgia's had in the past couple of seasons.
Okay, so out of their schedule, who do you think they dropped the?
I think, like I said,
I think they dropped the one to Notre Dame.
I think they dropped. I mean, they might drop the Notre Dame game, and they definitely dropped the A&M game. I think it's late in the season. Well, here's my thing: they're either going to be contending for a playoff spot, or they're not at that point. And depending on which of the other will depend whether if A&M wins that game or not. I personally think that they drop it.
How about Kentucky?
I think people overlook Kentucky. I think their schedule sets up for a little bit of success with them.
They were second in the East last year.
Yeah, but they lost a lot of talent. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Kentucky's a very, 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 very talented school. But I also think the other thing is that I think they drop about a couple of games and they end up going like 8 wins, maybe 7, somewhere in there.
I have Kentucky at 7-5.
Yeah, 7-5, 8-4, somewhere in that range. So, I mean, that's what I have to. That's where I'm at right now. So. And like I said, Kentucky's just one of them teams where they can show up, punch you in the mouth, and go. But, I mean, that's where I'm at.
What about Missouri?
I think everyone is looking over Missouri. Everyone is looking over Missouri. Kelly Bryant at quarterback is going to be a very, very powerful move. Or it's a very powerful move that Missouri made in the transfer portal. I don't know who made those phone calls or whatever, but I mean, there he is.
I mean, Missouri has quarterback options too. They got the transfer from TCU, Sean Robinson.
Yeah, but I'm taking the transfer from Clemson. Me personally. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? They may play both of them. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I think that it's going to be a decision. I mean, a lot of people are saying 5 wins, 6 wins. I think they go 9 wins. 8, 9 wins. 9 best case scenario.
I have Missouri at 8-4.
That seems about right, yeah. See, we don't disagree too much.
South Carolina.
Ooh.
I say 6-6.
Yeah, 6-6, 5-7. I think that's like I said. It's South Carolina and then A&M. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's like A&M has the 11th toughest schedule. Shut up. No, they don't. South Carolina has the first. A&M definitely a second in the whole nation. I mean, that's just how it goes. In my opinion, I don't know who's doing the ESPN analysis over there for toughest schedules, but putting A&M at 11th with that kind of schedule, I don't know too much. I mean, I think they're top 3 schedule, but South Carolina is definitely probably one of the hardest schedules in the nation.
I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. I want to say both of mine next. Because Tennessee and Vanderbilt, 5-7.
5-7. Tennessee 6-6. Vanderbilt 6-6.
Vanderbilt can even go 4-8. They could be the other.
I mean,
someone in the SEC is going to have a losing schedule.
Yeah,
there's no way every team in the SEC
there's
makes
no way,
a bowl.
But it could happen. No, that's what I'm saying. Real quick, after we rounded out everyone, I think this could be a year where we see the West, 3 teams go 10-2 at the very top, and Alabama's still finding a way to make it out, or even LSU or A&M. It could be a funky year. I mean, A&M could beat Alabama, but then drop a game to Auburn, and then or to LSU. They go 10-2, but then LSU beats Alabama and then drops against somebody else. And then Alabama could drop the game against A&M and drop the game against LSU. I mean, who knows what's going to happen this year? I think it's an Alabama revenge tour, but, I mean, this is a year of a lot of question marks. This is a year of what's going to happen with the SEC, especially the West, because, honestly, whoever wins the West will probably have the highest chance of winning it all, period. But that's my opinion. But, is that it for SEC talk?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to end on SEC talk. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're at about 40 minutes right now, so we're doing pretty good. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this if you like it. Tell us if you don't like it. I mean, let's talk. Let's have a little fun. We are the Replacements podcast.
One thing I'm going to say before we go to break, go ahead and give us your SEC over-unders. What do you think they're going to do this season? Let's hear it out.
Yeah, let's hear it out. Let's discuss this. Let's have a little fun. But anyways, we are the Replacements podcast. I'm Elliott, and joining me is Tanner as always, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the podcast, and wow, we're a little bit into it right now. But I mean, we're cool. We're cool, right?
Yeah, we're having fun.
We're having fun.
This is we're calling it episode 1. Last week was kind of just having fun with it, so we called it episode 0.
Yeah.
So, halfway through our second time doing this, but we're going to be episode 1 when you see it on the deal. Let's go to some pro football.
Yeah, I like pro football talk. I want to start off with this. Pay Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones, listen to me. You need to pay Dak Prescott. And here's the reason being, is because he's going to be a franchise quarterback. He's going to be your franchise quarterback. He has such a high ceiling. Pay the Dak Prescott. He will win you a Super Bowl. I guarantee it. And here's the thing. You can replace Zeke.
Amari's more important this year.
Amari is definitely important, but pay Dak. Pay your wide receiver. But pay Dak. The dude's only making, what, $2 million right now?
He is doing $2 million. He had a 4-year contract worth $2.7 million. He's getting this year is $2 million. He's gotten less than that, but he's had a lot of incentives, and he's got a lot of incentives this year.
Oh yeah.
So he has a chance to make $2 million base salary plus whatever incentives are paid.
Yeah, but that's everyone. Everyone makes incentives.
He ought to be projected for his new contract is 5-year, $29.9 million. That's fair.
That's fair.
I mean,
that's very fair. But pay him. You need to pay him. Don't pay Zeke. Why do you want a troublemaker, somebody who's in an injury-prone position, and also, we're underneath a problem right now with the Dallas Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott, and the reason being is because Zeke is a troublemaker. The Dallas Cowboys feed into that. Jerry Jones feeds into that.
He's an enabler.
He does. Exactly.
And I stand corrected. Sorry, it's $29.9 million a year for Dak. His total contract projection is 5-year, $147.2 million.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
So in the last 3 seasons, Zeke has been fined just under $600,000 between being suspended for 6 games and the Thanksgiving stunt.
Yeah,
and
now he could go into an investigation again here pretty quick because
for the lawsuit.
Yeah, for the lawsuit, and that's a petty move in my opinion. That's a petty move by the other side. But I think but Zeke shouldn't put himself in these positions. You're a pro football player. For the love of God, be a professional. Come on, man. It's not hard. Be a professional. Come on.
So he's not the only running back holding out, though. They're all chasing that money. Melvin Gordon is also holding out.
Yeah, he's holding out too.
But the Chargers have already drafted another running back.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. These running backs, they're good for about 5 years and they're disposable. And that's the honest opinion. They're good for 5 years, then you get rid of them, then you get another one. The quarterbacks, on the other hand, they're around the league. Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. I can go on. Now, I'm not going to say Eli Manning. He was good. He topped out and then he slowly fell down. Take for granted, there's a lot more problems than Eli Manning in New York, but that's for different conversation. But the Dallas Cowboys have a good set. They've always had a good offensive line. A couple of years, it was kind of rough, moving people around with the injuries.
Travis Frederick is back. They are projecting him to be 100% healthy for the season.
Thank God, thank the Lord, so on and so forth.
And he is actually one of the lowest paid out of the big name linemen from Dallas.
Linemen, linemen in general just aren't they get paid, but
Tyron Smith is just under $100,000 for his contract total.
Yeah.
He's the highest paid Cowboy player under DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah. Well,
But I would pay Tyron Smith that much money at a left guard when he stays healthy.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, too. It's like, these football positions, like I'm saying, the game is made to protect the quarterback. The game is made to protect the quarterback. Say it with me, Tanner. The game is made to protect the quarterback. You pay your quarterback now. And that's what you have to do. The game has changed. It's not the 90s, not the 80s, it's not the early 2000s. This game is made to protect the quarterback. You can pay your quarterback. Your running backs, they're going to get hurt. They're disposable. Your offensive linemen, they're going to get hurt. They're disposable eventually. So, that's the thing. Those are rotating players. End of my rant.
Okay, but here's my biggest thing. With Zeke, he's wanting to hold out because he felt this year was the best opportunity for him to get paid. Here's the problem with that. The problem with that is...
demonetized.
This is not the first time Jerry has had this happen. This is not the first time a running back has decided that they were going to hold out, possibly into the season. And the last time it happened, they won a Super Bowl that year. Emmitt Smith held out for the first 2 games. They went 0-2. They turn around and won a Super Bowl back to back.
But the thing is, they're not going to go 1-2. They'll have a winning season without Zeke.
They have the first 3 games are easy games. I'm trying to get to the schedule as we speak.
Well, that's the thing. Jerry's going to see that. Jerry's not going to care. That's the thing. Jerry's just not going to care.
So they have the Giants week 1, Redskins week 2, and the Dolphins week 3.
Exactly. 3-0.
All 3 of those teams have quarterback questions.
Yeah.
You have the Giants, who have an amazing running back. I would take Saquon Barkley in Dallas in a Dallas uniform any day.
Great fantasy value for me in the past couple of teams that I've had.
But Zeke is holding out. And here's my thing. He has 2 years. Well, he has 1 year left in his contract. The Cowboys own the option for the 5th year, and then they can franchise tag him. They potentially have him as a Cowboy playing or not for the next 3 to 4 seasons, and there's nothing he can do about it. Is he going to sit out? He may for a little bit. He can't afford to forever. We're coming up on the 2nd week of training camp. It's $40,000 a day for missing training camp.
Well, this happened a couple of years ago. With the whole Zeke suspension thing. We didn't know if we were going to have him, so we practiced with him, and then all of a sudden we didn't have him week 1. Thank you, Roger Goodell. You're an asshat. Whatever.
Put on the helmet.
Whatever.
That is worth the helmet going on.
Fine. Helmet goes on. Put the timer on. Whatever. It's true.
So, let's look at it this way. This year, for the 2019 season, he was going to make $3.8 million in regular salary, base salary, and he had $4 million in signing bonus, which was what was left from his for the 4-year contract. Next year, on the option, he was going to make $9.1 million. I would love to make $9.1 million.
I would too, but
and then he's going to get a new contract. He's going to get a new contract.
Yeah. Well, he's going to get a new contract. If I was the Dallas Cowboys, if I was Jerry Jones, I have the hat on right now. Look at me. Here we go. I have the Dallas Cowboys hat on right now.
We have 4 players that have 1 year left in their contract right now for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
We have Dak. Pay Dak.
Pay Dak.
We have Amari Cooper.
Pay Amari Cooper.
We spent a 1st-round draft pick on this man. Pay him. And they're trying to get all 3 deals done before the beginning of the season, but I think Zeke's going to be the one who holds out.
Well, Zeke is going to hold out. He knows he's worth a lot of money, and he is worth a lot of money. But here's the thing. Trade him. Get draft value. Draft really good. You're done.
Wisconsin has a great running back going to be playing for an NFL team next year. Just saying.
Yeah.
But we also have Sean Lee, who has 1 year left on his contract.
Don't pay him. Let him go. Let him green pastures.
He was originally supposed to have a $7 million contract for this year. They cut him down to $35.
He's injury prone.
$3 million.
He's injury prone.
He is, and that's part of the deal. They have an incentive on his contract. Depending on how many games he plays, is how much more money he makes.
Yeah.
I think it's at 60, 80, and 90% of the games he gets an extra $1 million. And then if they make the playoffs, he gets more.
Yeah.
But that's fine for Sean Lee. He's been hurt nearly every season.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he should be getting paid.
I don't think he should play a complete 16 games in his entire career.
Well, I don't think he should be getting paid that much, and I honestly don't. He's good. He's just a liability. He's a bigger liability than what he is to an offensive lineman, in my opinion, for the Dallas Cowboys at the moment. But what do I know? I'm wearing the hat right now, so
I stand corrected. Also, we have 5 players on a 1 year contract. Randall Cobb, who we just got from Green Bay, is on a 1 year contract. He needs a contract too. We have Amari Cooper. We have Randall Cobb. Allen Hurns is still on the roster. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not.
He'll be healthy. He'll be ready to go.
We have good receivers this year. We have the team. We have the line. We have the quarterback. Zeke can be a part of it or he cannot be.
He don't have to be. We got enough in the backfield. Alfred Morris is going to come in, and he's a decent running back. He's a really good just pound the ground and go. And he's not as good as Zeke, and he's not as fast as Zeke.
His rookie season was almost as good as Zeke.
Yeah, but he's a physical quarterback. But you also got to remember where Alfred Morris came from, too. He was not behind a good old line. He was not on that good of a team. It was a decent team. But now he's on a team that has a pass game, that has a decent defense. The Cowboys are easily an NFC championship team. It's just coaching. Jerry Jones. I mean, that's simple. That's it right there.
And he's chasing Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley money. But that's well north of $50 million.
Yeah.
That's not happening. They show him projected at a $47 million contract. Which in 2 years, after he has, I think, maybe. I don't think he's going to burn out in the next 3 to 4 years. I would not give him a 5-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Rams did. Look where that got him.
I mean, yeah.
He's going to have a contract extension before the end of the season. It's going to happen. But do I do a 5-year extension? No. There's no way.
No, disposable. So like what I said earlier,
But even at that, going back to how long can he afford to keep this up? Partying in Cabo, who knows what he's spending there. But it's $40,000 a day. I wish I could
Well,
just
who knows what trouble he's causing there? Let me say that again. Who knows what trouble he's causing there? He's a nuisance to the Dallas Cowboys. He is not he's not a responsible player. He's not a professional.
If he misses the first preseason game, he can be fined up to $226,000. About the price it would be if he missed a game.
Yeah.
How many times is he going to throw that amount of money down? He's missed about 2 weeks of training camp, so he's probably getting just to that number the first time.
Yeah.
If he's not there on Sunday, that's going to double.
Yeah,
how long does this last? And from what the Cowboys have said, they have offered a very generous deal to him.
Well, yeah.
But he's
that first deal was pretty decent. I kind of liked that first deal, but you're wanting more? Well, okay, fine, whatever. We'll get rid of you, trade you, you're disposable, buy, let's get some round picks.
All I'm saying is we've seen this before. We saw it in '93 with Emmitt Smith. He held out 2 games. Yeah, they lost those 2 games.
Okay,
they went
so
on
let me ask you this then. You give him a 3-year contract. Let's say that he gets suspended. How do you feel now?
Then we're right back to where we were 2 years ago.
Exactly. Why do you want that? Why would Jerry Jones want that? Pay Dak. Don't pay Zeke. I don't care what anybody says. I get so many people going, Elliott, Zeke did this, Zeke did that. Well, guess what? Dak Prescott, in my opinion, is a more well-rounded player, in my opinion, in a longevity term than what Zeke will be. It's when it comes to on and off the field, so on and so forth. My opinion.
Here's my thing, and Jerry and Steven Jones were very smart about this. They put this out last week. They went to the Dallas Cowboys locker room and said, well, we want to pay Zeke. We want him here. But if we pay him, we can't pay y'all. He's not messing with our money. He's messing with y'all's money.
He's messing with everyone's money.
Which is great, because that no longer makes it a star running back versus the Dallas Cowboys management. It is now Ezekiel Elliott versus the Dallas Cowboys
organization.
And the NFL salary cap is $188.2 million
a year.
All I'm saying, Tyron Smith, $10 million. The offensive line alone is probably about $35 million a year, just for the O-line that protects Zeke.
Yeah.
Of course, Dak.
Honestly,
Dak, underwhelming $2 million, who for his production is underpaid and undervalued.
He's undervalued. He is an undervalued person. I want to get to this real quick. You can get to that here in a second. I want to get to this. Dak is undervalued. Dak is very undervalued. And here's why. He's replacing Romo. The Dallas Cowboy fans are crazy. I'm crazy. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm crazy. I want immediate results, Dan.
Every year.
Yeah, every year.
Supposed to be America's team. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl every
exactly. You're America's team. 3rd point. 4th point. You don't know how bad we want a Super Bowl. You don't know how bad we want to win playoff games this year. Or, future, so on and so forth. So, that's the thing. There's so much pressure put on what is he, 24 now? 25?
24.
24-year-old. Our age. That's what I'm saying, It's just like, there's so much put on him. He's been through injured offensive line, the Zeke ordeal, all that stuff. So, that's what I'm saying. He's been put through so much, and the Cowboy fans, most of them don't appreciate it. there's so many Tony Romo fans out there, and I love Tony Romo, but by God, the dude couldn't stay uninjured. And
I love
poor
him in
dude.
the broadcast booth.
Yeah, I love him in the broadcast booth. Thank God. I mean, it makes Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays enjoyable. So,
My deal is, he now has a full off season with Amari Cooper making the catches, and he's got Randall Cobb.
And Randall
we have
Cobb.
a great receiving core,
and Hearns. So.
and Alan Hearns, and the Golden Boy, 16 season, going on 17, Jason Witten. And if you saw the videos from training camp, it didn't look like he lost a step.
Well, he's going to be
He
more
is still
he's-
getting
I mean,
his retirement checks
Yeah. Yeah.
mailed to the Cowboys
Yeah.
training center.
Well, here's the thing. Jason Witten is going to be, in a sense, I feel like he might be underwhelming, but he's going to be there at the right moments. Here's the thing. There's going to be so many offensive weapons on that wide receiver line that Jason Witten probably not even going to really have to try that hard.
Nobody's better at catching less than 10 yard, under the 10-yard mark, from the line of scrimmage to the first 10 yards. Who are you going to throw it to?
Oh, Jason Witten every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
We watched Romo do it for years.
And then watch Jason Witten create magic. It's great.
I can still remember
That's
him
content.
losing his helmet and taking off running without a helmet.
Yeah.
That won't happen anymore. But
Yeah. Well, continue
a
on.
great moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I agree with you on that. Pay Dak, pay Cooper. I say pay Zeke, but don't pay him what he's wanting. Cowboys have the leverage here. They have him for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Whether he wants it or not. He can demand a trade. How's that working out for Melvin Gordon? It's not.
Yeah. And
Le'Veon Bell got to sit out for a year because he only had 1 year left in his contract to his unrestricted free agent.
yeah.
He does not have that option. Or Zeke does not have that option.
No, he doesn't. But
Yeah.
I say get rid of him. His stock's high. And that's the thing. His stock's high. He's good. Get rid of him. Get some draft stock status, and then you're good. You're good. But we'll end it right there on Dallas Cowboy talk. I really don't... I mean, we talked about it a little bit last podcast, but not this much in depth. But
Well, I know we're getting away from the Cowboys, but did you see this today? Mark Wahlberg made a Super Bowl prediction.
oh, who
You want to take a guess?
is it my Dallas Cowboys?
The Dallas Cowboys
Really?
versus, where's he from? He's from Boston.
Boston.
Patriots versus the Cowboys was his prediction. And he said it was a win-win in his case because he just opened a new branch of Wahlburgers in the Dallas Cowboys training the Star.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's win-win for me, Patriots or the Cowboys. He's like, but I may have to go to a new shade of blue. I saw that
That's
pop up
great.
earlier, and
That's
I was
great.
like, we got to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to maybe AFC talk, I mean, the Browns are a high contender. I think they're overlooked very much. I think they're going to be a scary good team.
What'd you think of, Baker Mayfield pulling a Baker Mayfield and cracking open the beer with his teeth to
that
shotgun
was
it?
great. Listen, the mustache, the swagger that he has, like I said last time, the swagger that he has is just way too good, dude. It's awesome. I love it. I mean, that's me. Some other people frown upon it. The dude literally took the beer, cracked it open with his mouth, shotgunned it. I mean, that's...
Did better than Aaron Rodgers did at the Milwaukee basketball
Aaron
game.
Rodgers, sitting here, oof.
With the finger up
With
like
the
he's going to
finger
finish
up.
it and didn't even get close.
Yeah. But, I mean... It's football. It's all fun. What they do. I mean, I'm fine with that happening outside of football. When it comes to stuff like that, that's all fun. and games.
Baker Mayfield probably has the biggest leash. He's got a brand new coach. Everyone loves the swagger.
He got the biggest.
Everyone loves the swagger
But that's
this
the thing.
year. They go back to the normal Cleveland Browns and go 4-.
Never gonna happen.
I'm not saying it will. They win 4 games, and it's gonna be like, hey, well, maybe you need to knock down that swagger a little bit and go back to working on that playbook. Maybe it could very
The
easily.
dude's smart.
We could very
The dude's
easily
a
have
great
a
quarterback, dude.
New
I
York
mean,
Giant situation. Maybe you shouldn't spend so much time on that boat during the playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the Browns see a losing season for a long time. And that's just because of the weapons that they have. Do you know how many first-round draft picks they have? Or top 3 picks on that team, It's amazing, But, I mean, hey.
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
Nick Chubbs. Odell Beckham. And Baker Mayfield. It's definitely.
And then that defense. The defense is good. It's not a bad defense. And, I mean, this year, like I said last podcast, AFC Championship is going to be the Browns versus whoever else.
I'm very excited to see the Browns and the Chiefs play again.
Yeah.
That was a fun game last year. Plus, I just love watching Patrick Mahomes beat the...
Like I said, the Madden curse is going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Did you see the pictures of Antonio Brown's feet?
Oh, the cryogenic. Yeah, the frostbite with the cryogenic thing. That one was kind of.
That looks like it hurts.
It looks like it hurts. What's that movie where that? What's the movie where that person pulls that black toe off? That's what. That's dude. I could only imagine like that. That's a sucky situation.
But at the same time, do you not know? It's gonna be cold. Wear proper footwear.
Yeah, you're supposed to. Yeah, but I mean,
we almost need a segment for dumbass of the podcast.
Yeah. Here.
I guess I earned the helmet.
You gotta put on the helmet. Yeah, you gotta take off the headphones now. This is great. This is great. Now you feel my pain, but your head's a little bit smaller than mine, so it's okay.
Well,
I don't know how that's gonna work. Well, I guess you can go without hearing. That's okay.
That's about what it's like.
You're deaf anyway, so. But anyways, just moving on. Heisman talk. We'll round it off with Heisman talk right here for the last segment of the show, and I mean, this is going to be a doozy. I mean, we disagree a lot on this, and I feel that Tanner thinks that who is it? Alan Bowman is going to be in there.
If Texas Tech pulls their head out of their butt and has a 10-win season, he's very capable.
Here's the thing: the best quarterback in the Big 12 is going to be Jalen Hurts.
No, I disagree.
Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball. He is going to throw the ball, and he is going to make a lot of these Big 12 defenses look silly, very silly, very silly.
All I'm saying is he played 8 games last year and threw for as many yards as several other Heisman caliber quarterbacks.
But here's the thing, he only played 8 games. He didn't start those 8 games. You gotta remember who's in front of him.
Alan Bowman is a starter.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, he threw for 765 yards and 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last year.
And guess what? He was Alabama's saving grace for the SEC championship last year.
So what happened against Clemson, bro?
Well, that wasn't his doing. That was Tua's doing.
I don't know. We have. I think the running back from Wisconsin has a good chance. He ran for 2,100 yards last year.
I mean, he has a pretty good chance. Wisconsin's going to be a good team. Jonathan Taylor at running back is going to be magnificent. Is he going to have the same year that he had? Maybe. And I mean, he was a true freshman last year. He has some development this year. 13 touchdowns last year. I mean, we can see those numbers the stock go up on that. I mean, who knows what happens? It's Wisconsin.
Sam Ellinger?
Shut up. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I think Texas is going to take a dive very early.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Texas fans, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Horns down. You're not back. I'm saying that. Period. Done. Don't even comment. Or comment.
So, to end the podcast, we're going to do another over-under. If y'all didn't catch this segment last week, I asked Elliott 5 questions, and he takes the over or the under on what I ask him. So, we're going to start with Tua from Alabama. I cannot pronounce his last name.
Tua Tagovailoa.
I'm not even going to attempt. But, touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Does he break 40?
He breaks 40. I think with the schedule that they have, he's definitely going to break 40. Will it be like 41, 42? Yeah, maybe. But it's not going to be... I mean, yeah, he'll break 40. I got over.
Okay. Let's see here. Alan Bowman throws more, with a full season, throws more than 4,000 yards.
I think it's under. I think he throws 3,500 to 4,000. But if he hits 4,000, I think here's the thing: if Tech goes to a bowl game, then he'll hit 4,000.
They are still in an air raid offense. I think he beats Patrick Mahomes' record.
You think he beats Patrick Mahomes' record?
I think he breaks 5,000.
I don't think you have the right offense yet. I think it's early. I think he's a season early. Give him another year, and then he'll break 4,000.
Kenny Brooks from Wisconsin. Do you think he breaks 100? No, sorry, Kenny Brooks from Oklahoma. Do you think he has 100 rushing attempts next year with Jalen Hurts?
No, and that's just because Jalen Hurts is a very big ground and pound person. He's very... I mean, like I said, Jalen Hurts is going to do it all. He's going to throw it. He's going to beat you in the air. He's going to beat you with his legs, and that's just plain and simple. He's in the Big 12. He's on the SEC. The Big 12 gives up a lot more yardage, and that's the thing. It's just that, you know, Big 12 is offense. Offense. They'll have the best offense, in my opinion. Some of the best offenses. But the defenses just suffer so much. And that's the thing about it, is that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and just take over a lot of that load. Now, he's going to definitely be useful to help kind of spread out teams. You know, once they're spread out, he might get a good run or two, but it's not going to be as many carries. Under.
Justin Herbert, 8 interceptions.
8 interceptions? I think that...
He threw 8 last year.
I know he threw 8 last year. Oregon, with the schedule that they have, man, that's hard. I take the over on that. I think he throws at least 9 or 10. I don't think he has... I think he has a good season. I think he has a fairly similar season, but not, you know, it's going to be maybe more touchdowns, but I mean, he's going to have more passing attempts, but I think, you know, with more passing attempts, there's a higher chance. So, yeah, definitely over.
All right, last one. Clemson, Trevor Lawrence. Does he throw more than 3,000 yards?
For sure. Listen, Clemson is going to be a juggernaut, and I'm scared of them. As an A&M fan, week 2 is not going to be a great week for me. I'm going to be going gray. I'm going to be losing hair. Who knows? I may be as bald as Tanner by the end of that week. But here's the thing. Trevor Lawrence has a lot of offensive unit. Now, Clemson on defense is questionable, but that's for a whole nother subject. But I think he goes over. I think he has a high production year. Their schedule is not that hard. Honestly, it really isn't. Their hardest team they play is A&M. Period. And that's just my opinion. He goes over. He has an excellent year, and he honestly may win the Heisman. I think it's between him, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and Jalen. I think between them 3, those are the 3. I don't think Alan Bowman makes it, period. I don't think he makes the Heisman conversation, really. I think at midseason he may pop up.
I don't think he'll be a finalist, but I think he's going to be in the talk.
I mean, he'll be in the talk for a couple weeks, and then that's it.
Since we're talking, I think Derek King will sneak into the Heisman from Houston.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. Maybe. That's a big if, Tanner.
Alrighty, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening. We plan on doing another one next week. I think we're going to do some Big Ten talk.
Yeah, Big Ten will be next week. Any drama that goes on, and we may do a little bit of NBA talk next week too. We'll be getting a little bit closer to that, and the MLB race is kind of tightening up too, and that'll be about the time. And
trying to make it through the dog days of August. It'll start getting exciting at the end of September.
Yeah, just predictions for now, but thanks for sticking around, guys. If you're still listening, whether if you're in your car, your phone, your radio, look at us, that's funny. But thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, and remember, tell us what you think. Tell us your predictions. We may, tell us what your Big Ten predictions are. We may talk about it, so on and so forth on the next podcast. So, we post the podcast every Friday, so make sure that you come in on Friday. It's around 6 p.m. is whenever we try to get it up. We may change it eventually. We're kind of testing the waters. We're only on episode 1, so make sure you check out the last podcast from last week too. And remember, stay frosty. We are the Replacements podcast. I'm Elliott.
I'm Tanner.
And thank you all for listening.